Most people go through life as shadows of what they could be. They wake up, they follow routines, they obey unspoken rules, and they call it living. But Friedrich Nietzsche looked at this and said, most people never live, they only obey. What does that mean? It means that most of us are actors in a play we never wrote, reciting lines given to us by society, by family, by culture, by fear. We become obedient servants to expectations. And Nietzsche's mission was to shatter this obedience and replace it with something far greater: authenticity, strength, and individuality. His call was radical, he said, and become who you are. But what does that mean? How do you become who you truly are when your entire life has been shaped by external voices? Nietzsche gives us the tools, and today we will uncover his blueprint for becoming authentic, for transforming obedience into life, and for breaking free from the prison of conformity. The first insight is that obedience feels safe, but it kills your spirit. Think of how most people live. They take the safe job. They follow the safe path. They nod when they want to disagree. They conform so they are not judged. And they think this safety is life. But Nietzsche warns, safety is just another form of death. When you obey blindly, you live someone else's life, not your own. Listen to this carefully. Every time you choose comfort over courage, you kill a part of yourself. Becoming who you are means making the uncomfortable choice, the risky choice, the choice that reveals your strength, the choice that comes from pure intuition, and the choice that puts you in a state of fear and what if. Here's where you step into the unknown and into something that you need to wield to your advantage. You must take that risk and transform your fear into power. Nietzsche tells us that life itself is struggle. He says, to live is to suffer, and to survive is to find meaning in the suffering. Do you see what he means? Life will always bring pain. Most people obey because they think obedience protects them from pain. But it doesn't. It only gives them a life of shallow, meaningless suffering. The secret is this: you cannot escape pain, but you can choose pain with meaning. This is the first step in becoming who you are. Stop seeking a painless life. Start seeking a meaningful struggle. Listen to this. Nietzsche introduces the idea of the herd. The herd is society, the masses, the crowd that demands conformity. The herd values obedience because obedience keeps order. But if you always follow the herd, you erase your individuality. You become a copy, not a creator. Nietzsche calls for the birth of the Overman or the Übermensch. This is not some mystical being or putting others below you. It is the human who dares to rise above the herd, who creates their own values instead of absorbing the values of others. You have being lied to your whole life, my friend. When you accept the values of the herd without questioning, you are not living. You are obeying. To become who you are, you must ask, are my beliefs mine or were they given to me? Do I live by my truth or do I borrow my life from others? Nietzsche would tell you this: if you removed society's approval, if no one applauded your choices, what would you still do? That is where your authentic self lives. Here's another insight. Nietzsche teaches us about the will to power. Many misunderstand this. They think it means domination over others. But Nietzsche's will to power is something deeper. It is the inner drive to grow, to expand, to overcome yourself. It is not about controlling people. It is about conquering your own weakness. The will to power says you are not fixed. You can always transform, but transformation comes at a cost. You must destroy your old self. Every time you face fear and still act, every time you choose growth over comfort, you exercise your will to power. Your power is not in controlling others. It is in mastering yourself. Nietzsche's fourth lesson is what he called Amor Fati, the love of fate. Most people resist life. They complain about what happens. They wish for different circumstances. They pray for things to be easier. But Nietzsche said, love your fate. Say yes to life exactly as it is, with its pain, its losses, its chaos. Why? Because when you embrace everything, even suffering, you transform it into fuel. He believed that your strength is measured not by how much you avoid, but by how much you embrace and still create. Thoughts and emotions act as a radar, and one of the most profound secrets I ever learned was this: do not react to anyone or anything coming up when faced with difficult situations. Learn to navigate chaos and stay firm whilst the situation plays itself out. Let's say you get into an argument. The second you react to the person screaming at you, you give in to their energy and energetically lower yourself to their level and absorb their chaos. Practice stoicism and engage with people on your terms. Do not give your away energy to anyone who are not ready to grow up and meet you halfway to share and grow from each other like adults. My friend, do not resist life. Absorb it, love it, use it. When you stop fighting reality, you gain power over yourself. Another profound concept is the eternal recurrence. Nietzsche asks, what if you had to live this exact life again and again for eternity? Every choice, every mistake, every joy, every failure. Would you despair or would you rejoice? This question is not about the afterlife. It is a test for the present. If the thought of living your life over forever fills you with dread, then you are not truly living. But if you would embrace it, then you are becoming who you are. Live so that you would choose your life again. If your life feels unbearable, then you must change it. Not tomorrow, but now. Nietzsche believed obedience leads to despair because it creates a life you would never want to repeat. Becoming authentic creates a life you would gladly live again and again. Another crucial lesson is Nietzsche's idea of creating values. Most people adopt values given to them. Be polite, follow the rules, chase money, marry, obey tradition. But Nietzsche said, values are not universal truths. They are creations. And you are the artist of your own values. He asks you, what do you stand for? Not what your parents, your culture, or your friends told you. What do you truly stand for? To become who you are is to stop obeying borrowed values and to start creating your own. Really take this. If you do not create your values, you are enslaved by someone else's. Ask yourself, what kind of life do I want to create? What virtues do I want to embody? Then live them. The final thread in Nietzsche's teaching is courage. All of this, rejecting the herd, creating values, loving fate, embracing suffering, requires immense courage. Most people will never do it. That is why Nietzsche said, most people never live, they only obey. They lack the courage to live authentically. But if you want to become who you are, courage is the price. Courage to be disliked, courage to be misunderstood, courage to walk alone, and courage to embrace the chaos of life without needing guarantees. Another secret is that courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to live fully despite fear. Fear is false evidence appearing real. Fear is not a human emotion, it is a force that is created from ignorance. Humans are actually only born with 3 fears that we can call real. Fear of heights, fear of fast-moving objects, and fear of loud noises. Every other fear is learned. Really think about that. Nietzsche believed greatness belongs not to those who obey, but to those who dare. And so the path is clear. To become who you are, you must reject the false safety of obedience. You must face suffering and find meaning in it. You must rise above the herd and question every borrowed belief. You must embrace your will to power and overcome yourself again and again. You must love your fate, live as if your life will repeat eternally, and create your own values as an artist of existence. And above all, you must choose courage over comfort. Most will never do this. Most will only obey. But if you take Nietzsche's challenge seriously, if you dare to live instead of merely survive, you will not only become who you are, you will become unforgettable. Nietzsche never wanted you to admire his words, he wanted you to apply them. His philosophy was not a museum for abstract ideas, it was a weapon for life. And if you truly understand him, you can transform yourself into something extraordinary. Let's move deeper. We spoke about obedience, the herd, the will to power, Amor Fati, and eternal recurrence. But how do these principles look when you bring them into your daily life? How do you use them to stop being a shadow and start becoming who you are? The first practice is the art of confrontation. Nietzsche despised the tendency to avoid conflict because every avoided conflict is a betrayal of your truth. In your daily life, notice how often you silence yourself. In meetings, in friendships, in relationships. How often do you nod and agree when your entire being screams no? Nietzsche would tell you this: every false yes is a small death. If you want to live, you must confront. You do not have to fight with anger, but you must speak with clarity. Try this. The next time you feel the urge to obey silently, pause, breathe, and say the words that reflect your truth. It will feel dangerous. That is the point. Growth hides in danger. This is practical Nietzsche. Another application is what I call the herd detox. The herd is not just society at large, it is your circle, your feed, your environment. If you are constantly surrounded by people who demand conformity, who punish individuality, you will unconsciously obey. Nietzsche's advice is clear. Distance yourself from the herd. That means curating your environment. Limit your time with people who drain your authenticity. Fill your space with thinkers, creators, challengers. Read books that disturb you. Listen to voices that do not echo your own. Every time you choose the herd, you become smaller. Every time you choose solitude or strong company, you grow. Your environment is not neutral. It is sculpting you every moment. Sculpt it consciously. The third application is the practice of micro-courage. Nietzsche knew that most people dream of great transformations but fail to act because the step feels too big. His answer: start small, but start with courage. Choose one act per day where you deliberately disobey the herd. It could be as simple as saying no to a request that drains you, speaking up when you normally stay quiet, dressing in a way that reflects your style, not the style expected of you. These micro-courage acts compound. They rewire your brain, they break the cycle of obedience, and over time they create a new identity, someone who lives, not someone who obeys. Another tool is what I call Nietzsche's mirror. Every evening, ask yourself one brutal question. If I had to live today over for eternity, would I accept it? If the answer is no, change something tomorrow. This practice forces you into alignment. No more wasted days, no more sleepwalking. The eternal recurrence is not a thought experiment. It is a mirror that shows you if you are truly living. Use it. When I realized that everything was a reflection of myself, everything began to shift. The truth is, 9 out of 10 times you are the problem. Not you specifically, but the way you perceive things. Ask yourself daily, when approaching any situation in life, work, colleagues, first, take a hard look at yourself, at how you react, how you think, and the assumptions you make. That's what needs correction and readjustment. This was my mantra for a long time. Everything outside of you is a reflection of what's happening inside of you. My life completely changed once I truly understood this. I had spent years blaming others for my struggles when in reality I was responsible for how my life looked, how I perceived others, and why I remained stuck in misery. The truth hurts, but it also sets you free. I humbled myself by looking inward first. That's when I started seeing real success for the first time in my life. Ever since I committed to this inner work, I've been able to manifest anything I set my mind to, literally. Some things take time, others happen the very next day. It depends on what you're asking for and the action you take toward it. This is a secret most gurus won't share without charging you thousands of dollars. So take this wisdom to heart. This channel exists to help you finally break through once and for all. Then comes Amor Fati, the love of fate. How do you apply this? Begin by catching yourself every time you complain. Notice how often you wish life were different. Nietzsche would say, stop wishing, start loving. Train yourself to say yes even to the hard moments. When you lose a job, instead of saying, why me, say, good, now I am free to create. When you face rejection, instead of saying, I am worthless, say, good, this reveals who truly values me. When you face failure, say, good, this is my test. This is Amor Fati in action, not theory. A radical yes to life. This changes everything. Because when you stop resisting life, life stops defeating you. Another technique is what Nietzsche would call value creation. Look at your life right now. How many of your values are borrowed? Do you believe in working hard because you truly see its worth, or because you were told to? Do you pursue success because it feeds your soul, or because society applauds it? To become who you are, you must rewrite your code. Choose 3 values that truly resonate with your core. They could be courage, creativity, truth, discipline, or love. Write them down. Every decision you make, ask, does this align with my values, or am I obeying someone else's script? This exercise will shock you because you will see how much of your life is borrowed. But if you persist, you will begin to create yourself, not copy others. And creation is the essence of authenticity. Nietzsche was not just a philosopher of ideas, he was a psychologist of power. He understood that most people collapse under the weight of disapproval. But you cannot become who you are if you are addicted to being liked. So here is another practice. Seek disapproval. Yes, deliberately. Share an opinion that you know will be unpopular but true to you. Refuse something that everyone expects you to accept. Let someone frown at you. And instead of shrinking, smile. This rewires your nervous system. It teaches your body that disapproval is not death. In fact, it is freedom. Once you are free from needing approval, you are unstoppable. Nietzsche also believed in the transformative power of solitude. He spent years walking alone, writing alone, thinking alone. Why? Because the herd is loud. And to hear your own voice, you need silence. Do not fear solitude, use it. Schedule time every week where you are alone with no distractions, no phone, no social media, just you, a notebook, and your thoughts. At first, it will feel unbearable. That is withdrawal from obedience. But slowly, your true self will speak. Solitude is not emptiness, it is the forge of authenticity. Another application is to embrace what Nietzsche called self-overcoming. Do not settle for your current self. Look at your weaknesses and decide to outgrow them. If you are timid, practice boldness. If you procrastinate, practice discipline. If you fear rejection, practice exposure. Nietzsche saw life as a constant climb. He said, become the one you are by learning to be the one you are not. This means you must constantly break yourself to rebuild yourself stronger. Do not worship your identity, outgrow it. Your identity is clay, not stone. Shape it, smash it, shape it again. And each time, you become closer to your true self. Finally, Nietzsche reminds us of the ultimate test, legacy. Ask yourself, if you died today, would your life be an example of obedience or of authenticity? Would you be remembered as someone who played it safe or someone who lived with courage? Nietzsche's challenge is this: live so that even if you vanish, your life still speaks. That does not mean fame, it means integrity. It means your actions are so aligned with your truth that they leave an imprint on everyone around you. That is greatness, not obedience. Greatness is becoming unforgettable by being unapologetically yourself. So now you have the tools. Confront when you want to obey. Detox from the herd. Practice micro-courage. Use Nietzsche's mirror every night. Love your fate daily. Create your own values. Seek disapproval. Embrace solitude. Overcome yourself again and again and live for legacy, not safety. If you apply these, your life will transform. You will stop being a shadow and start being a flame. You will stop obeying and start living. Nietzsche's words are no longer philosophy. They are your practice. And with them, you will become who you are. If you've made it this far, you're not like most people. You're the 1% who actually seek truth instead of blindly obeying. Nietzsche would say this already sets you apart. So now I want to ask you, are you ready to stop living for approval and start living as who you truly are? Drop your greatest insight from this video in the comments and get ready because this journey is only just beginning. Welcome to Elite Circle. You've been expected.